You've seen the ads. Set up an AI crypto bot, go to sleep, and wake up to effortless wealth generation. The pitch is that these algorithms execute rapid, emotionless trades, stripping the anxiety out of investing. But cryptocurrency markets don't close. They operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with wild price swings that can happen at 3 in the morning on a Sunday. If a piece of software is buying and selling during those volatile spikes, a single poor configuration can systematically drain your entire principal capital before your morning coffee. This chart maps execution complexity against capital exposure risk. Looking at this data, we have to ask, are these bots legitimate financial instruments for retail investors, or are they highly sophisticated traps designed to harvest novice capital? To survive automated trading, you have to completely ignore the marketing hype. We need to evaluate the technical realities of how these systems actually interact with your money. An AI crypto bot is strictly an execution tool. It is a set of instructions. It is not a guaranteed money printer. The trade-off here is that automation doesn't actually eliminate your labor. Instead, it shifts your effort away from staring at daily price charts and forces you to become a system security manager upfront. When you hand your money over to a traditional broker, there are institutional guardrails protecting your assets from obvious fraud or catastrophic system failure. When you deploy third-party code in crypto, those safety nets disappear. Even federal regulators cannot intervene if a bot perfectly executes a series of terrible trades. A logically flawed loss on a decentralized market is permanent. Because there is no central authority to hit an undo button, you assume 100% of the operational risk. The bot follows the rules it's given, even if those rules drive your account to zero. To let external software trade for you, you have to connect it to your exchange account. The bridge that makes this possible is an API key. If you use the default API settings provided by most exchanges, you are handing that external platform the power to withdraw funds autonomously. If the bot's server is compromised, your wallet is drained instantly. IP whitelisting is your first line of defense, blocking unauthorized access attempts from hackers by specifying allowed server addresses. Next, enforce write-disabled API permissions. The bot executes trades, but physical movement of assets is hard-locked. Setup requires generating static IPs, configuring server permissions, and carefully managing private keys. It completely eliminates the convenience of a quick 5-minute mobile setup. That friction is exactly what you want. A slightly annoying onboarding process is the only reliable way to ensure a third-party platform breach doesn't wipe out your entire portfolio. Once your capital is secure from theft, you have to look at how the algorithm actually makes its buying and selling decisions. Let's start with the most common logic, dollar cost averaging, or DCA, and grid trading. This chart shows how basic grid trading works. The bot operates within fixed, unchanging price boundaries, executing buys when the asset dips and sells when it rises back to a specific line. The vulnerability here is obvious. When the market violently crashes through those static safety parameters, the bot will continue to buy the dip all the way down, leaving you holding heavy losses with no capital left to recover. To solve this, developers use deep reinforcement machine learning. These models attempt to read the context of the market rather than relying on rigid lines. A true machine learning model continuously adapts its trading boundaries. It reacts to microsecond volatility, tightening exposure during a crash and expanding when trends stabilize. But these advanced models carry their own severe risk, known as overfitting. An overfitted bot is essentially trained to memorize the past. It will show a perfectly profitable track record during historical backtests, but the moment it encounters live, completely new market conditions, its logic collapses. Upgrading to an AI model means trading the rigid, predictable flaws of grid boundaries for the hidden risk of a system that is biased toward historical data that no longer applies. Because no algorithm can perfectly predict the future, you have to build a structural safety net directly into your portfolio. The most effective method for this is a stablecoin buffer. This diagram illustrates how the strategy works. It automatically sections off a strict percentage of your capital into non-volatile assets, completely separate from the active trading pool. If a bot experiences a cascading logic failure during a flash crash, this buffer prevents your principal from being liquidated. You always have dry powder. There's a financial trade-off. Keeping 30 or 40% of your portfolio in cash intentionally limits your maximum yield during a massive bull run. Leaving money on the table is the price you pay to ensure baseline survival. This matrix matches your technical capability to the right strategy. For passive income, native DCA bots lower yields but avoid API risks. Cloud platforms demand strict IP whitelisting and stablecoin buffers. For complex machine learning, you must dedicate hours auditing backtests to prevent overfitting. Catastrophic financial losses usually happen for one reason: an investor attempts to deploy a bot that exceeds their own technical capacity to manage it. The concept of a true autopilot in cryptocurrency trading simply does not exist. Despite flashy AI marketing labels on their dashboards, these programs are just highly efficient execution tools. There is no magic algorithm that prints money without oversight. If you want to replace manual market monitoring with automation, you must replace it with an equal or greater amount of upfront security architecture. The safest AI crypto bot is one where you fully understand why it buys and sells, and where you strictly control its access to your capital. Financial freedom in crypto automation is earned through rigorous, continuous risk management. It is never as simple as a one-time software purchase.